Hi, I'm Teresa Chang.
Hi, I'm Marianne McCara.
Hi, I'm Felicia Grant Cummings.
Hi, I'm Kim Johnson with Moms Navigating Autism.
Hi, I'm Felicia. Welcome to Moms Navigating Autism.
Hi, I'm Teresa Chang.
Hi, Kim Johnson.
There's a lot of things that people don't seem to realize when it comes to sports and kids with disabilities. One of which is the American Disabilities Act. People need to realize that the American Disabilities Act says that if your child is on a sports team, they're entitled to the same privileges that neurotypical kids are. I know that when my son was on the team, my son, at the time, he was on the track team, and he went through all the meets and everything. The then coaches only allowed those who won medals to get their varsity letter, not the entire team. Well, that's a violation of the American Disabilities Act, because if, they're going to allow them to be on the team and some of the kids get them, then all of the kids have to get their varsity letters. And it's usually me that has to be the one that comes up and says something. And that year they allowed my son to be the only one who got his varsity letter and certificate and pin or whatever it was. He was the only one that got it, because the rest of the parents didn't know their rights.
But there were other kids with students with disabilities on the team?
Well, there were other students, period. It wasn't like they were saying only the kids with disabilities can't. It was, if you didn't win a medal, you cannot get a varsity letter. But you had a whole team of kids who tried anyway.
So how does that work with other teams though? Like, all right, say for example, if it's a team sport, like soccer, where everybody has to play to win.
Right.
How do that? Does that whole team get a letter and a pin? Varsity letter?
Yes. Regardless of whether you got a goal that year or not.
Because not everybody's gonna, because there's defense.
Right.
Different so it's not everybody that's gonna get a touchdown. It's not everybody that's gonna get a goal on a soccer team.
Right.
So
exactly.
how does that so track it? That's like individualized,
no, but you show up. But you show up as a team when you go there. You show up as a team. When you take your picture as a team.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it's one individual player running, that's the way it is. But it's just something that people are not aware of. They all sit there and they think, okay, everybody's doing the right things. But there are so many laws, so many disability laws, just in education, in sports, in
do they try out also for these teams though, like as part of the tryouts? Because I know when
they had no tryouts
many moons ago when I was in high school and played sports, there was tryouts. So like you had to go to all the practices, tryouts, like even the cheerleading and stuff like that. We had to do tryouts. I was on cheerleading with Felicia, but I don't know if we're on the same squads, but we had tryouts. So I was just curious how that works with tryouts.
Well, no, the kids with disabilities have to be given the opportunity. If they want to try out for the team, they have to be given the opportunity to try out. If they don't try out, then that's a different story. Or if they don't make the squad, then that's a different story. They just need to be given the opportunity. From what I'm seeing now, and I'm understanding from parents now, because mind you, my son's no longer in school, is that they've created special needs teams, like special needs cheerleading, special needs, basketball, and they're steering those kids to those teams if they feel
special ed teams, or they're doing like the special Olympics now here,
right?
Oh, okay. But special ed teams, not special Olympic kind teams. I know they do a lot with the special Olympics here in PTO, so
they might be steering them towards that. But here's the thing. If the kid doesn't want to join that team and wants to join the regular team, then he's got to be allowed the opportunity to do so. No one's asking them to let him on because he's had special needs. he's got to be given the opportunity to do so. They can't say, well, no, you can't try out for this team. But the track team didn't have tryouts. The track team, well, at least when my son was on it, we went to a meeting. They said, okay, sign these papers, these
Right.
permission slips. And then he was on the team. They gave him a uniform and everything.
And that's how it is currently, that, you go to a meeting, and not during pandemic times, but,
Mhm.
you go to a meeting and you sign up. And my daughter, she didn't have that issue.
Mhm.
So thankfully, a few
Yeah,
years down the road,
they fixed it.
she didn't have that issue. She joined the team. She participated in different events, some long distance runs, some short distance runs. She did discus, she did shot put, and she went out there and was living her best life. She enjoyed the social aspect of it. And that was one thing, that was really good for
Mhm.
her. She made friends with a different group of kids, from
Yeah,
school, because of the track team. And yeah, they were actually very supportive, of her
yeah.
during her time.
I think it's got two different coaches now. I went and I spoke to the principal and he went and fixed it. But like that year, they only fixed it for my son. They didn't fix it for the entire team, which is something that I felt they should have done, but they didn't do it. They had the new sports guy come in, and he really was against it, but he really had no choice.
Okay.
So,
Well, thank goodness it's now,
yeah.
different. She
Yeah.
has her letter. I saw, and she has the pin.
Hmm.
I guess, I don't know if they're going to update, since they've been in pandemic, update how many pins. I guess you get a pin for every season that
You're
you're
right.
on.
Hmm.
I don't think we've seen, because I think she did 3 seasons so far, but she's not going to do it this year. So,
The American Disabilities Act and student athletes. The ADA specifies that students with disabilities must have the same opportunities to participate in sports and activities as anyone else. Equal access to team facilities, including fields, courts, locker rooms, meeting areas, exercise equipment, and other amenities must be provided. Accommodations for athletic venues are quite specific and cover everything from seating space, the number and placement of restrooms, elevators, and signage requirements. New facilities must be built with these guidelines as part of the design, while older facilities may be required by law to implement these provisions retroactively. However, equal access does not mean special treatment or give any student an advantage over others. All school districts, colleges, and universities are legally required to make reasonable access available to people with disabilities. Coaches and athletic administrators might need to make appropriate accommodations to allow students to participate. The ADA defines disability as a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities of such individual. Further, it prohibits discrimination for those it covers. If you are a student or an aspiring athlete, you may require accommodations under the ADA to accomplish your academic and athletic goals. The Act extends protection to all students in their academic pursuits and in extracurricular and athletic programs. Because you qualify for special accommodations, you will have to submit proper documentation. Usually, this will consist of a statement from your doctor or therapist. This includes a one-to-one aide. If a student needs a one-to-one aide in school, it is likely they will require one for after-school activities. The ADA requires school districts to provide that aide. Most colleges have designated offices with personnel serving students with disabilities to assist you with obtaining that required documentation. Students with disabilities can reap tremendous gains from participating in athletic programs. Athletic directors and coaches must ensure that disabled students feel welcome to try out for teams and participate in intramural activities, as well as make all facilities and programs as accommodating as possible to all of their students. These regulations are enforced by the Federal Department of Justice. The regulations in its entirety can be found on the ADA website at https://beta.ada.gov.
And the other thing that people have to realize, sometimes our kids with special needs, they like even though my son was really smart, he did not graduate on time. I actually kept him in an extra 2 years because I felt he really needed more social skills before he went on. And he was going through a whole bunch of different things. So he wasn't ready to graduate. So we kept him in an extra 2 years. But one thing, when you are a senior, you're allowed to be on all the teams. And that's not just kids with special needs. It's your neurotypical kids. But there's a state sports law, the way it was explained to me, that only allows them to be on the team for 4 years. If you're into your 5th year, you can't join the team. It has to do with competing against other teams and stuff. If you keeping your child in school, and a lot of parents with kids with special needs do, that is in New York State. I don't know what the laws are in another state. And on the federal level, the American Disabilities Act is a federal law, so it would be that way across the country. But in New York State sports laws, you cannot play on a team if you're over your 4 years. So if you're keeping your child in an extra year or two, that extra year or two, they can do everything else that the rest of the school does, but to be on a team, that falls in a completely separate category. But that's the same for every kid.
Everyone.
Whether you have, right. So that's how that goes. And that's, I'm saying all of this from experience. So,
Yeah.
Surfing camps are starting to put up their stuff. My son learned to surf at autism surfing camps, and we have like the best times there. And it's not just for kids, children and kids in under 18. It's anybody with autism up. There's some people that are older, there's some people that are younger, but they will take the kids out and try to teach them to surf. Like I said, Surfers Ways out there.
Where did they go? Where did they go to surf?
Okay, Surfers Way does it on Riverside Beach in Long Island. If you go back to a couple of our shows, I list them on the show, on the video.
Okay.
Surfers Way is out of Long Island. Surfers Healing is out of California. They do one a year here. There's a couple of other ones. There's one in the Hamptons, which we go every year. They are on Kapsaki Beach in the Hamptons, and they also run a pretty good program. But
is it like a weekend, a week, a 2-week program? One
day. Well, what I do is they're all at different times, so I schedule them all in. If we could actually get like 11, we could actually get like 11 surfing days in if we go to every single one.
Wow.
So there's a lot of organizations out there, and in the summer they also have, some of them have, which I'm not sure if my son. I'm willing to do this, but I don't know if my son is willing to do it. They also have parasailing, and they have skydiving, which I want to do.
Ooh, I don't know.
I want to do it.
I've only been in a plane twice, so I don't think I'm jumping out of one yet.
Oh,
But they
I
do
like
have some.
planes, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure if my son will do
Maybe
it, but
30 years ago, I might have been a little more game.
Yeah, I ain't going out of one. I have to get myself up in one first, but
but they also have water skiing. You know, they have
I used
there's
to
a whole
water
bunch
ski
of
when I was
ones.
younger.
And then they also have there's some places I haven't seen because my son's never really been interested in fishing, but they have fishing.
Oh, wow, fishing. Okay.
Right. And you go out there, you spend the day out there with the family. They'll let the family on the beach for free. And, you know, they give you breakfast, they give you lunch, and, you know, they allow you on the beach for free. It's fun, but it's a really good day. But yeah, I keep telling everybody, but those days go quickly. Usually on my Helping Hands advocacy page, I list them, but I tell everybody before you share it, sign up for it first.
So the slots aren't filled up.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
gets filled up pretty quickly. So I'm thinking ahead to spring and summer. I'm tired of this weather now. Once Christmas is over, it's time for summer.
All across the US there are free one-day clinic camps for people with disabilities. They range in all different types of sports: surfing, skateboarding, fishing, water skiing, horseback riding, skiing, skydiving. These camps are meant to help boost the confidence of our autism kids. Go online and search for them. I am sure you will find some near you.
I'm just trying to think in terms of sports, you know. I found that with my daughter, independent sports. So even though she was part of the track team, she still had individual events, you know, that she was in. And when she was younger, we signed her up at regular Parks and Rec the tennis lessons.
Yes.
And she
wow.
enjoyed that, you know, and that really
Wow.
helped her with like coordination and the eye-hand coordination and, you know, just having to move across the court. And we did it for several years. We did it mostly in the fall. Sometimes there might have been a spring because sometimes it's a gentleman who teaches. Then one time in the summer, there were two ladies who taught, and she loved it. She loved it, you know. And it was one of those like early Saturday mornings, like 8 o'clock kind of things.
Mhm.
But she loved it.
Oh.
She did basketball with Parks and Rec. And people to this day, one of the coaches gave her a nickname, and to this day, people will walk up to her and call her that nickname. And I'm just like, who are you? You know, they're like, we remember her from basketball. So, you know, there's bonds that are built, you know, and that was just
Yeah.
local Parks and Rec, you know. So, I mean, really supportive. They were supportive. She, you know, got the time in to play with practices and learning the skills and game time. You know, I think it helped that her father helped coach too. So, you know,
we
he
did
was
that.
there. Yeah.
We did Parks and Rec soccer, and we were coaching the teams.
Yeah.
The things we do, Felicia.
I know.
Oh my God, yeah, we did that too. And we did, oh God, I remember being on the team. This was the last year we did it because we had a whole bunch of Hispanic families. And no, don't get me wrong, I'm Hispanic too, all right? But the fathers took over and told us that our son could not play. And I was like, no. And then there was this whole big discussion, and they were like, oh, well, so and so's the coach, and I'm going, yeah, no, we are. And I'm like, so my husband comes up. They thought what it was, they weren't communicating, they weren't putting it together that my husband and I were together, and so they brought him up and they said, tell them that her son could not play, and my husband goes, no, that's my wife. And let me tell you something. we're paying our money to put our kid on this team, and we think all kids should have an opportunity to play. And, we are not telling kids that they can't have time out on the field.
Right.
So that's what we did. And after that year, I mean, they didn't do bad. The kids came in second place. But after that, we decided we weren't going to do this anymore. And then we signed them up for ASO, the American Youth Soccer Organization. They had a special needs team, and my son was like, I'm just going to go down there. These kids are mean, and now they're teasing me in school. So that's what we ended up doing. But yeah.
So
They have the
sad.
Miracle League in Elmsford too, like baseball.
Yeah. Oh, we had the Croton soccer, the Croton Little League has a challenger team. I think we discussed this on the show once. They play all over. They have a traveling baseball team, and it's set up like a regular team. There's no age limit, I don't think, and because we had a kid that was 26 on the team, and some of those kids can hit, and we went all over the place. We'd go up to LaGrange, we'd go to Newburgh, and I think I told you guys we went down to New Jersey one time to play Cortland Manor.
Wow.
Yep.
But it was a great day. They had a parade. It was this big thing. I think it was sponsored by Toyota, and it was like a really great thing. We went all over the place with that team, but we had some pretty good time. My son made some really good friends from that team. Actually, his best friend right now was from that team. So I actually, you guys should, if your kid's interested in baseball, sign them up for it. There were all sorts of kids there, and they had buddies to help them run. The ones that needed it, the ones that didn't need it, they could run on their own. And it was an all-inclusive team, and everybody got along.
Kim, did you find that there was a program that your son could be a part of?
He's not interested in any sports or things like that. It's
No?
not his thing.
Okay.
He doesn't understand, and he's just not into it. We did find right before COVID, we were going. It was once a month on Sundays. They had at Rock and Jump the first session of the morning between I think 8 and 10. The trampoline park in Mount Kisco. They were having disability days. So you would go in, it would be just people with disabilities would go, not a lot of families. It was more low key and quiet, not a bunch of screaming kids and stuff like that. And we went with 2 other ladies that were through the same, one of my son's ComHab workers also worked with these ladies. And so they came with us a couple of times also. And my son just liked hanging out, sitting down with them on the trampoline and throwing around the foam blocks and stuff. I couldn't get him to actually jump on the trampoline, but he was getting really used to going there. It was our once a month thing. We'd go out for breakfast afterwards sometimes. And then COVID happened. So
did he look forward to those outings?
I don't know. Sometimes he's like, oh man, why is she making me go? I don't want to be in here. Just give me my video. It just depended on his mood,
Okay.
I mean, I still make him every year. We do our apple picking, whether it's with all the nieces, nephews, cousins. If it's just me and him, first thing in the morning when no rude people are there, we just kind of just go do our thing. We just have those things. I don't know if he knows it's tradition. We do it. We just go enjoy the outside when it's nice out and just hang out. So those are the things he more likes, He'll hang out in his wheelchair and just hang out with me if I'm shopping. He's just glad to be out in the store now, especially after COVID. He just wants out. So, little rides in the car, McDonald's. He don't care. He's like, hand you a shoe every now and then, be like, aren't we going somewhere? He just wants out of the house. So, but yeah, no, that's the hard thing now. He has nowhere to go now. He's just home now. So,
yeah.
You know what I like most about the baseball team? There were no practices. There was just games.
Thank you, Altice, for providing this platform for us to express our views.
And we want to remind everybody that we are mothers. We are not professionals. We're sharing our experiences so that we can help you with your autism child.
Follow us on social media. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe.